Welcome to Unaccountable, the world's most okayest accounting game show. I am your globe-trotting glamper, Tyler Otto, and I'm joined by the charitable chap, Jeremy Van Grohl. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
I am hot off a conference, selling my face off, selling my kidneys, selling anything people will have. Like, I have run out of things to sell this week. Luckily, Accountable makes no money, unaccountable, so I don't have to worry about selling anything else.
That's right. You do kind of have the two-face thing going, that half your face is gone and the other half looks okay-ish.
You know, some people wanted to pay for it. I'm not going to judge them. It was my better half anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, let's jump into some things. Good.
Hit me. What do you want to thing up?
All right. So our friend Kirsten sent us a couple things here as feedback and comments that you can submit at unaccountable.co. Anyway, one of them was like, we had a winner of the week a while ago that I called out the accounting people because their kids are going back to school. She had to retort that, hey, Jeremy, some of us homeschool, and this is actually the other way around. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
You know what? Kirsten can always find a way to be the loser amongst the winners. I don't know how she does it, but she did.
Ooh, fighting words. I love it. But then also, like, I think we have to concede she's smarter than us. She called out that we were talking through the fast figures last 2 weeks, that the office snacks should be the 100% tax deductible expense. She said, based on the act that I don't remember, and I'm sure you will.
Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
Yes, that one's only 50%. So we didn't do our own due diligence on this, but I will believe her all day long because she is way smarter than either of us in taxes for sure.
Again, people are smarter than us. We're just here to go over accounting facts that we know.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last one related is she happens to have a family member that is included in the federal government, right? So we were talking another episode ago about the IRS jobs and how those could be good. However, if you have these government jobs and we do not have a functioning government, and I will not get into politics with you or anyone, Tyler, but there's some stuff going on out there that is a risk if you are taking that public sector job, that paycheck suddenly isn't there one day.
You know, that's a fair point with all the looming shutdowns of like, hey, IRS pays well until Tuesday when all of a sudden it's not going to pay anymore. Yeah, scary time. IRS almost seemed like they had done something well for themselves, and then the government's going to go and hose that all over again.
Yep. Ooh, you almost had it there, right? Like the commercial.
Yeah, it was close. Jeremy, though, we also had a submission for PITA of the week. It's been a while since we've talked about the PITAs. We had our first PITA of the week, which our friend Jackie Anthony from AllCents submitted. Jeremy, I believe you have it in front of you.
I do. She had the very valid complaint about the Chase bank integration in the bank feeds in QBO. And I guess I haven't done this myself lately, but they're trying to bring the information in from their client, and the client has multiple companies at Chase. She can't pick and choose what counts to come in. Everything came in, and I just cannot imagine the headache that caused.
That is brutal. And especially, they don't care about the QuickBooks API for anyone else. I mean, QuickBooks really cares about the API. They don't think about what works for everyone else. Same reason Keeper can't pull a reconciliation date. They all make these changes. They don't care what the end impact is for anyone else. They're just like, well, we're doing it for our system.
Yeah. In a similar frustration, we were onboarding a client just Wednesday this week, and they changed, their bank got bought out 2 days before our onboarding call. They switched over and none of the API worked or anything else. I'm like, you would have told me that. I would have got in right away and got you in an onboarding call much sooner, but is what it is.
Man, Chase Bank. Yes, you have validly earned the PITA of the week.
All right. Well, let's transition from that, sir. It is now a change of the seasons, right? The temperatures are dropping. Here in the upper part of the U.S., leaves are changing colors, football's in full swing, baseball playoffs.
All the girls on the street right now, they have pumpkin spice lattes and are wearing Uggs.
I absolutely agree with you.
It's all we see here in Utah.
That's right. And so I thought we would transition to our first game here today, and one that I'm calling falling from grace and talk through some corporate scandals that are tied into accounting.
Ooh, okay.
All right. Are you ready,
I don't
sir?
know if I want to be good at this one or not. Like, will you be scared if I hit 100% very easily?
I feel like I had to throw you some softballs this time after last.
Round one, fight.
And cue softball. So, potentially the largest accounting related scandal of all time. This one brought the big five down to the big four.
Enron?
Yep, the Enron Arthur Andersen. It's been a hot minute since he's happened, right? So I did a little extra research and refamiliarizing myself with the details. But the one that struck me out the best is the Arthur Andersen office was billing Enron $1 million a week for accounting and consulting services.
Wow.
And their lead auditor had an annual performance goal of 20% increase in sales. So, like, all sorts of crazy things happen, including that the lead auditor let Enron employees intimidate the Andersen auditors, such as locking an Andersen auditor in a room until he produced a letter supporting a $270 million tax credit.
Well, I respect it because there are many times I want to lock my clients in a room until they get me answers to certain questions I have. So I understand the frustration. Jeremy, have you ever watched the documentary Smartest Guys in the Room?
I don't think I have, but I've heard good things. That's one I got to get out there and do.
You absolutely have to watch it because once you start to learn what they were doing and they got government approval to use mark to market accounting, which is essentially like accrual basis, but like in fantasy land where you can actually recognize the revenue when a contract is signed or even when a contract seems imminent and not even services rendered. And so it's just monopoly money at that point. Like it's Farmville bucks on Facebook, essentially, but managing our economy. It's absurd.
Oh, that is absurd. Yeah, and I think like also tied to this one with Arthur Andersen's fall was like WorldCom was another one out there, and Quest doing bankruptcy, and oh god, that one was huge in the industry. All right, move on to number 2. So tied to mortgage-backed securities, this firm had the largest corporate bankruptcy in U.S. history.
Bear Stearns.
Related to Bear Stearns.
Oh,
what's the other one?
Morgan Stanley?
Nope. I'm gonna do the Bear. Lehman Brothers.
Lehman Brothers.
Like Bear Stearns went down first, and then Lehman Brothers did, but they had $619 billion in debt. And we just know, like, this is one, if you've seen The Big Short, I'm assuming you've seen that. They talk about that one. Like, that movie was just super well done, where they just randomly bring people in, like, here's Selena Gomez that she wants to talk about how this works. It explains things super.
Here's Margot Robbie in a bubble bath explaining how tranches work of subprime mortgages. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good times. But, like, more or less, they did some, which wasn't honestly against the law, but deceitful accounting practices, where they said they would record things as sales instead of loans or liabilities, because if they put up something like $105 for every in collateral for every $100 it owned, it really would claim it was a sale. Which, again, I don't understand all the pieces of that, but yeah, it would pretty much just like wait and see at the end of the quarter how they needed to dress up their balance sheet, and then would do that shady, they're calling the repo 105 tactic to just build it up.
You know, if you, for our listeners out there, if you don't have sensitive ears and you haven't seen The Big Short, you need to do yourself a service and watch it. Mainly for the reason, it's amazing how everyone else in the room can be screaming that you're wrong about something, even though the math all points to you're right. And what those people had to go through was as a Mark Baum and everyone else of like, just the numbers prove they were right, but still everyone just goes off historical knowledge. No, this is the way it is. Like, it's hard to be right sometimes in a room. So if you're ever a bookkeeper and you feel like something's fishy and everyone tells you it's okay, it might not be. This is a great example of everyone in the room can be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love Steve Carell's character in there too, when they're all
sitting. That's Mark Baum.
Is that okay? Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was him or Christian Bale, where he's sitting there and like everybody else is at the table and they're like, I'm pretty sure his head's gonna explode after he's just trying to understand, like, wait, these subprime loans are tied to these other ones, and this is all like, oh yeah, crazy.
Yeah. When they were reviewing what's in an ODC or something, how they package all these poorly, man, it's like a turd Tootsie Pop, like just rolled together. Oh.
Ooh, can we trademark that? Turd Tootsie
Yeah,
Pop? I like that.
turntootsypop.com. I'm going to have it registered by the
Yeah.
end of this episode.
Oh, I love it. All right, cool. All right, just one more. The name of the company and the individual of what I believe is the largest cryptocurrency scandal. So this one's pretty recent.
Oh, I'm guessing you're talking SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yep, Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. Absolutely. So yeah, this was CoinDesk was the one that pulled this or like brought this one to light, that they leaked their balance sheet and was like really suspect of its diversification and how well they were tied to like related companies that they had. And it said like the balance sheet listed $9 billion in liabilities and $900 million in assets, but assets also had poorly labeled entries showing a negative $8 billion balance as negative assets.
Okay, so I have a beef here with this whole thing because I remember it coming out. First of all, I am not a QuickBooks apologist. There is a lot I don't like about Intuit, but I use it with all my clients because it talks to every tool, and so I can make a great customer experience. But they came out. I remember there was an article where people were like, "Well, of course they collapsed. Heck, they were using QuickBooks as their accounting system." Now, I personally have done the financials for an 85 million a year hotel. Okay, and done it on very robust softwares, whether it's Dynamics 365, Great Plains, Sage. Like there's stuff out there you can use. I would argue it's not a problem of the tool. You can manage a company on QuickBooks no matter what if you know what you are doing. Yes, there are tools that probably are better suited for it, but I love how they made it an enemy of like, well, they just weren't legit. No, it was the end user that didn't know what they were doing and probably even knew what they were doing. It was just more shady stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, you stole some of my thunder there, Tyler.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. Yeah, they actually brought in the new CEO, John J. Ray, and that was the exact thing I was gonna say. Is like he said in his interview, well, they're using QuickBooks, and the congresswoman that was interviewing him said QuickBooks, and they're like, he's like, yep, QuickBooks, a nice tool, but not for a multi-billion-dollar company. And I'm with you there. Like I used to work at a public company, and we used SAP, which is a pretty robust tool as well. Yep. But like it's the user, right? Like you can have whatever tool you want. Like as long as it's right and you put the things in place, and I'm not saying that was the right tool for them, but if you had $8 billion negative assets, it's not the tool's fault, right? You got users that don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, as long as you got a revenue management system, right? Like every restaurant, hotel should be on a point of sale, a property management system, a PMS that controls all the revenue customer transactions, and you record the summary entries in your accounting software. I gotta imagine a trading platform also manages a lot of the ins and outs in their equivalent of what their point of sale is, and you can manage the accounting on the back end. You tie out the balance sheet to the ledgers from that system. Not a problem of QuickBooks, in my opinion.
Yeah, correct. And yeah, to your point earlier too, maybe in particular, have had some good jabs in and into it and QuickBooks, but the tool works for what it's supposed to do. You need to make sure you have the brain power and the users trained to be able to do it right.
You should not advertise you need brain power because then immediately people are going to disqualify us as competent enough to work QuickBooks.
Crap. I apologize.
Well, Jeremy, with that sound, it is halftime. And you know what that means is it's time for an app snap. Yes, that time in the episode where we sit down on the sideline, pull out our orange slices along with a good old app and take a bite out of it. And Jeremy, who are we reviewing this week?
We're going to review Notion this week. So Notion, I was turned on by the tool.
Ian, can we get that cut as an audio clip for the future? I just want those last couple words Jeremy had in my back pocket for later. Proceed, Jeremy.
I was turned on by the tool.
I was turned on by the tool.
Yeah, this week we're going to go with Notion, which is something that I was introduced to by our friend Alyssa Lang, who we had on previously, in working with her firm, that what pretty much it is the brain of our organization, right? So we went all in on this. Really, where if you're going to look for information, whether that is our SOPs or client data or meeting notes or anything like that we're looking for in our clients, we house it in that software. And the positive things with this is like it's searchable, right? You can make your own custom pages. And then also like Zapier will pull our data off of our consulting form when we're signing up for things, pull it in right into there, and we'll use that to drive other automations. So just a good idea to have it there. We put our Loom videos there that we do to have this one place for all the answers, your source of truth. That's what Notion is for us.
Yeah, no, I know so many companies that use this as their second brain. And heck, that's the brain we use for unaccountable. Now, it's a very small brain, which I think is very appropriate for us. But no, I completely agree. It's an amazing software. Um, we got going on a different software early on, and I never made the switch to Notion. But there are times where I pine for just how deep down the rabbit hole you can get of embedding things and linking things and having everything pull from somewhere else. It's an amazing software if you really want to be able to manage and just it's almost like in a beautiful mind and making that board where everything connects to each other with a red string, except here it's just hyperlinks and clicks and page views. It's an absolutely cool program. And of course, anything these days you need to build to have integrations, whether it's with Zapier or other tools, so you can pull everything in. So the fact that they got on board of that early, yeah, it's a no brainer for most clients.
Yeah, agreed. And maybe and I forget the tool that you use, Guru or something.
I use Guru, and there's only one reason, but I won't go in. That's not their app snack, Jeremy.
Okay, I'm saying, but like there should be something, right? Whatever that tool is, where you're housing all of the things. Notion is a great one, works for us. There is a learning curve, like you said. We have been using it, and I have not been the one on my team. We have an amazing operations manager that does all the things for us and hooks things up and organize things. So there is a learning curve, but like once it's there, like things are sweet. You can tie all sorts of data together and you're not recreating data in multiple places. You're just like linking it so everything stays consistent. I was having that meeting with my team this week is like, this is why automation is important. Like consistent fields everywhere that you can pull the data and keep everything together is so valuable as you grow as an organization.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Great pick for the app snack this week. All right, Jeremy, on to round 3. And this week, I get the privilege of bringing back a game from episode 1, 50-50. You see, I don't want to set you up for a shutout like other people might do to their co-hosts. So we're going to give you 4 questions this week on some recent updates, and you have a 50-50 chance of getting these right. Let us proceed. Jeremy, question 1. According to a new report by Bloomberg Accounting and Tax, inflation-adjusted amounts for taxes will go up 5.4% for the 2024 tax year, next year. So this means the standard deduction for married filing jointly for 2024 will either be over or under $30,000. What are you guessing?
Over.
You are close because it's $29,200. Which, again, if you think the 25 grand number we had when we were preparing 22 tax returns, like that's climbing quickly at 29,200 for a married filing jointly.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised that it's not a little bit more than that. Yeah, okay.
All right, so question 2, staying in that vein, just because I want to play a little fun math.
Okay.
That's a 5.4% increase versus the prior year. If the standard deduction continues to increase by 5.4% each year, would the standard deduction be over 6 figures before or after the year 2050?
So we're talking over 25 years away.
25 years away. So in 2050, is the standard deduction, like, will it have already hit 6 figures or not?
I'm going to go yes for compounding.
You are correct. In 2048, if the math stays here, which you and I will be older men, because I'm not even going to say we're not already old men. I eat dinner at 5, folks, and I'm in bed by 9:15. So I am an old man. But I will say, by 2048, if that math continues, a 6-figure income for a married filing joint family is going to be under the standard deduction. Inflation is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think there's going to be some economic years and incidents there that's going to hold that one back a little bit. But I mean, who knows? That could happen.
Absolutely. It could happen in our lifetime, is all I'm saying. You're right. Like, the math is probably not going to stay there. But 5.4% increase for into 2024, that's less than the 7.2% from the previous year. So it's not the highest one.
Yeah.
Jeremy, true or false? 2023 is the final tax year that you will not receive a 1099K for amounts under 20,000 from any sort of app or marketplace.
True.
That is false. 2023, you're getting that 1099K supposedly this year for anything over $600. Because I remember they tried doing this last year, and then the IRS just said, JK, never mind, we're kicking that can down the road. As of right now, Venmo, PayPal, all those folks, if you drive for Ride, Lyft, Uber, all of those, you're supposedly going to be getting that 1099K now for anything over $600. We'll see if it happens or if they, say takes these backsies again.
Yeah, and we need to put, like, towards the end of the year, put a segment out on 1099s and just like gripe for like just half the show on how much sense 1099s make all the way around, man.
I don't know if I want to tease it, but I've already started writing that game. It's called I Got 1099 Problems. Yeah, Ian, cue that drop. It's going to be there.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son.
Foreshadowing.
Jeremy, one other key update. According to NFL.com, Travis Kelce saw his jersey sales increase by more or less than 350% in the last few weeks.
It's got to be more of those Swifties.
400%. Now, the only reason I bring this up is simply by having someone attend your games and watch. 400% increase is pretty good. I'm just saying, we can invite Taylor Swift on the show. See if she wants to, work that magic here.
Whose arm do you feel like Taylor Swift would be on here? Because I feel
she
like
was up in a booth. She can stay far away, just like that with us. Keep us at, she was 300 yards away during the game.
That's right. Taylor, call us.
Yeah. Jeremy, well done. 3 out of 4. You're keeping it on par for us. I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, no, happy to do so. So speaking of old people, we're going to segue that into our favorite game, the Fast Figures. And for our listeners, if you don't know what Fast Figures is, it is our game where we will put about a minute on the clock and shoot 10 questions at the other host that each have a specific number for an answer. Some of them accounting related, some of them are shenanigans. And our theme today, Tyler Otto, is retirement. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm only a couple years away.
Same, hopefully.
Round 1, fight.
If you were born after 1960, what is the age you need to be to collect full retirement benefits from Social Security?
65.
How much is this full retirement benefit per month?
$2,300.
If you were to delay this benefit until you were 70, how much would it be then?
$3,000.
How many tires does an average semi-truck and trailer have?
10.
Satchel Paige was the oldest person to play baseball before retiring. How old was he?
Wait, I want to go back. 14. Now, he was 2.
How much can a 51-year-old contribute to their 401k plan in 2023?
They get the exception.
It's not slow figures.
5,200.
A popular retirement nest egg withdrawal strategy is commonly referred to as the blank rule.
The old people rule.
How many times did Brett Favre retire from the NFL?
Thrice.
In 2021, what percent of the population is over 100 of the U.S. population?
0.08.
How many times is the word hello sang in the Beatles hit Hello Goodbye?
28.
Okay.
I have no idea, man.
How you feeling on this one, Tyler?
I don't know, but honestly, like if you look at me right now after this week of selling, I feel like disheveled is the only word that can describe, and I feel like my brain displayed that here as well.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you are not at the top of your game, and I have been there, sir, as have most of our listeners, where you just have a rough week of all the things. So anyway, let's debrief here and see how we did. So if you were born after 1960, which is the last time they changed the age for getting full retirement benefits, how old do you need to be to get the full amount?
65.
65? It's 67. The next two, if you're close, we'll give them to you. How much is this full retirement benefit per month? You say 2,100, I believe? It is 36.27. And that is, let me come back to that. So then if you wait in the next question until you're 70, to file for that. How much does that come up to? And I think you were in the 3,000s.
I was.
It was $45.55 a month.
Wow. I mean, it's proof that I stay in my lane of hotel accounting and I don't, I'm not swindling the retirees out of their money.
Yeah, this is true. But if you think, even if you do the full benefit, which was the first answer, that's $43,500 a year. And the second one is just under $55,000 a year. So like, moral here is like, get those nest eggs. Like, that's not a great number. And yeah, all that.
Well, and especially like, if that's your benefit going forward, that's not enough, especially, that'd be terrifying. Yeah. You need that supplemental income.
Yeah, absolutely. So squirrel away those pennies. All right. Next one. How many tires does an average semi truck and trailer have?
I went with 14 because if I recall, you got like the 2 front tires and then you've got 2 sets of 2 immediately behind it at the back of the truck itself. Yep. And then you usually have like another 2 sets of 2 at the back of the trailer. So that's 7 on one side. I went 14 total.
So you said 10 and then you went back and went 14. Yep.
Yeah.
The commonly referred to 18-wheeler would be 18.
Yeah. I'm crushing it today.
Oh, good. All right. Satchel Paige, oldest person to play in baseball before retiring. You said 52. He was 59. Can you imagine being almost 60 and playing professional sports?
I can't imagine it at 36, man. Joints hurt.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right. How much can a 51-year-old contribute to their 401k plan in 2023?
I think I accidentally said 5,200. I meant 52,000. So 5,200.
Oh yeah. I was trying to think if you were trying to do the catch-up provision only there or what.
Oh yeah.
Total is 30,000, and there's the normal under 50-year-olds can do 22,500, and then over 50 you can do an additional 7,500 for catch-up.
Okay. I don't remember what the additional catch-up was. I don't see a lot of those.
I think the catch-up actually was 5,200 maybe last year. Like it jumped a lot this next year. So, yeah. The popular retirement nest egg withdrawal strategy, referred to as the blank rule.
The old people rule.
Oh, it's the 4% rule. So they're saying like if you take out 4% of your money that you have saved, that money should be able to last you for 30 years, which is over the average span a person typically lives in retirement.
Interesting.
So if you put away that cool mill, that's only 40,000 a year. But then if you have Social Security and you've done the full thing, now you're up to 83,000. That's doable. So scroll away some pennies.
I'm just going to take this the wrong direction. You're telling me if I retire at 40, I'm going to die at 70. That's what I heard.
I mean, it's possible. Depends how hard you rock those last 30 years. Love it. All right, next one. How many times did Brett Favre retire from the NFL?
I said 3 because once from the Packers, once from the Jets, and then finally from the Vikings, right?
Yeah, I'm going to give you that one. I had a lot of it between 3 and 4 because like he kind of tried to retire from the Packers twice, but then like waffled enough. I don't think they counted one of them, but I think he tried twice with the Packers, but good call. What percent of the population is over 100 years old in 2021?
I said 0.08.
0.08. I think it was a great guess. I'm gonna give you that one, but it's actually 0.03. But the fact that you went to 0.0 and whatever, I would have thought like originally I'm like, maybe 0.5% to 0.1%. Yeah. So all good. All right.
Within a 0.1%, I'm going to take that one for sure.
Yeah, I would too. I'm not sure that math was right, but whatever. How many times is the word hello sang in the Beatles hit Hello Goodbye? Ian hit it. I want to hear it. You said 28 or something, I think it was. Nope. It's 21.
You're an excellent question.
I went with that one because I was like, what are the top retirement songs that are out there? And it was Hello Goodbye by the Beatles or Good Riddance by Green Day. And I'm like, I can't end with Good Riddance. So we went with the Beatles.
Nothing screams, Jeremy, like you're really interested in hearing what I have to say than constantly going, what was your answer?
This is true. Oh, man. But I think what, 3? I mean, we got onto that one. I mean, it's not bad.
You know what? I made up for those other 3 with all the sales I made this week. So, yes, in my shevelledness,
Oh, that's what you're going with, shevelledness?
Yeah, well, I don't want to be disheveled. So what's the
Oh.
opposite of disheveled? I assume it's just shoveled. I'm shoveled today.
You are shoveled. And that is a great segue to our winner of the week. Our winner of the week this week, I'm going to go on a limb and say all those glamping company owners that you were selling your face, brain, kidney, left arm, right toenail, all the things to this week, because I know that this is like a seriously untapped market and that I'm sure their financial support right now is suspect at best. So
this is honestly, I love this industry, and this is, finding a niche within a niche within a niche, which for all of you out there that focus on certain industries, like, go for it. You may have estheticians, but you want to get down to that person that only does like laser hair removals on cleft palates. And like, there might be all of a sudden a great industry there if you can find it. And for us, we go after hotels. They're complicated. But you go even further, and there's people trying to do high-end glamping experiences, and they need accounting help, and especially because they're looking to sell one day. So they need quality financials that are represented in the way that hotel investors want to see it. And yeah, we found a nice little sweet spot. It's been wonderful for us. So I'm glad you think that they won, because it was a good week for us.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Just takeaway for listeners too is like, you can't get granular enough when it comes to this. Like, the market is there. Like, do a little research on it. But yeah, if you do travel industry, that is ginormous, right? But now if we dial into glamping experience, that is such a more targeted person, and you can just dial in that marketing even more. And a side note on your example that I found funny, like, prior to me going all in for nonprofits, we have an esthetician as a client.
Okay.
Who recently posted on her social media that was amazing. And I don't think she's listening to the podcast. If it is Valerie, I'm sorry. But was hilarious that she said something to the tune of, if you were ever mean to me, bullied to me, told me where to go, anything else, you can expect your appointment will be immediately canceled when you set it up, unless we're doing a Brazilian. And in that case, I look forward to your appointment.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
Yes, perfect answer.
I like
all right,
that.
What do you got for loser of the week, Tyler?
Our losers of the week, unfortunately, is all our listeners. Yes, I apologize because several of you reached out, one of you, listener, singular, but pointed out to us that we talked about our 50%, 100% meals. We were going to throw up a graphic. So you know what? We're going to get that up on the website for you to download here by the time the next one comes out. Unless the loser of the week is our listeners again next week.
Which is possible. However, we did find we might have been wrong with one point anyway. So maybe we were just waiting to make sure everything was accurate so we can provide you with sound tools to use.
Jeremy, one other quick highlight. We actually have reviews. Yes, more than your and my mom listen to this. And if you don't mind, I'm going to highlight a couple of those.
That sounds great. My sister must have got that gift basket I was sending her way.
So from Shumapup on Apple Reviews. I know. Don't ask me to spell that one. Ooh. I just love the fun and humor of these guys, and I learned something golden on each episode. The tip on Divvy and subscriptions is pure genius, and I'm going to run with that ASAP. Who would have thought that learning about accounting and bookkeeping would be so much fun? So thank you, Shumapup, whoever you are. And we also have Bound for Heaven. It's titled Great Show, Fun and Informational. It's not often I am walking, listening to a podcast, and pulling my phone out to jot some notes on bits I don't want to forget or want to look up more about later. I've now listened to 3 episodes, and I've done that one or more time listening to each one. Y'all are a great mix of humor, knowledge, and tips. I'll be caught up in no time, and we'll be waiting on new episodes to drop. Keep it going, Catherine. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, super appreciated. And I think I've always said that it's all about the tips and the bits.
And we just got canceled again. I knew Jeremy was going to be you.
And scene.
Well, if you want your review read on the show, feel free to go to Apple Podcasts or anywhere else they have reviews and leave us a nice little review. We'd love to know what you think. Otherwise, you can find us at unaccountable.co. Feel free to give us feedback or tidbits, PITAs of the week, or anything else that we should relay to Jeremy's mom. We're happy to hear it.
And when we're wrong.
Until then, Jeremy, it was a pleasure chatting with you, sir. Say hi to your mom for me.
I will do that. And would you, for the love of God, take a nap, man?
You can see it on my face. I know. See you then, sir.